Hey everybody, Wendy Klinke from Blue Cat Studio. I teach women and men how to paint, both online and in person. And today we're gonna do a live painting. And the title is Sunny Funny Birdie. So this should be interesting. I'm gonna kind of freehand it, but I did this little sketch earlier and I thought, oh my gosh, this would be so much fun. So we're actually gonna start with a black canvas. I primed this with black chalk paint. You could also use black gesso. And it kind of has a fun effect. So we're gonna start by tracing. Here we go. I'll place a big circle something. And I'm actually gonna go with chalk here. I had a white color pencil, but I think chalk is the safe way in case I screw up. You know what I mean? All right, Sunny Funny Birdie. My roll of Blue Cat stickers. All right, so we have a circle in the middle. And then I'm gonna draw kind of a line. Now this guy was inspired by a paper plate valentines bird project I saw that was designed for kids. But honestly, I just thought it was so cool. All right, so we're gonna make almost like a yin and yang. Maybe I need to rename this guy like yin and yang birdie or something. I don't know. Here we go. Okay, so I've drawn a yin and yang. Doop. So now we're gonna give him a big old bug eye. And maybe a little bug eye over here, and we'll do a little triangle. That's why we're doing the chalk, because I can just color right over the chalk. Super goofy looking, right? Maybe even angry or not angry birds. And then for his wing, we're gonna draw a little heart. Well, and then we'll have, let's see, one leg coming forward with a little goofy foot, and then one leg walking here. And we'll make this guy into a sunshine. Okay, I feel like that's good enough to just kind of give us some paint lines. And again, this is a fun, whimsical, goofy painting. It's not meant to be super serious. I just had this idea and I really want to try it out. So guess what? You get to be my guinea pig. So I'm gonna start off with some pink. This is Peony Pink by Deco Art Americana. Squeeze it out. And I'm gonna do the bird body first. There's the brush. It's right in front of my face. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, and since this is a black background, it is gonna take a couple of coats. In fact, we're gonna do some of our basic tricks of this black, titanium white to give it a little thickness here. And yes, I know the starting with a black almost seems counterproductive. However, when you kind of don't connect all your pieces and leave a little bit of the black showing, I love the way that looks. And so we do. All right, so we're just getting some good coverage here. I'll turn this so you can actually see. And I'm not super concerned yet about having perfect color. Again, we're trying to just undo some of that black. And we'll clean up the edges in another coat here. So just smushing the peony pink and the titanium white together. So unless you're using like really heavy body acrylics, and even then, you are gonna struggle a little here and there with having a really good opaque coverage. So we're just kind of getting it placed in. A little bit haphazard, having fun with it. Okay, so we got a basic coat, right? Hey, Alina. I loved that video you posted of Alex doing his 360. That was so cool. I'm gonna break out my my prospectus and get some of the paint off my brush because I don't feel like rinsing. I'm gonna grab some red here. This is a Tuscan red. Well, Alina, it's all your fault because you dragged me to that paint and sip at Living Social or whatever it was all those years ago, and it was like all the painting like just up and clicked like all at once. Hey, Diane. All right, so using the Tuscan red, yeah, this black is gonna be a royal pain to paint on, so we'll use some of the white as a base. All right. It's almost like I shot myself in the foot with the idea of doing black. It's okay. You guys get to be my guinea pigs. I sketched this with colored pencils. I haven't done like the whole, like, how's it gonna work? So I guess I'll go over that guy with some red later. I'm trying to keep the color tones slightly different so I can still see that heart and the difference from the bird. So offloading some more paint. In fact, I think I will rinse because we're gonna just go with some pure white. So the top half of this circle here, I'm actually gonna turn into a, like a sun, hence the Sunny Funny Birdie name for this guy. Ooh, I have a lot of pink pigment in there. So after I rinse, I do try and dry it off to get as much of the junk off as possible and make sure I'm not getting water in here. So since yellow is the worst of the worst, we're gonna get a white base and then we'll come back in with some yellow to make it rich. I'm gonna leave a slight outline so you actually can kind of see the black between the bird and the sun. And I'm hoping that we can preserve that the whole time. When it's all done, it does look cool. And we might try and add some more sort of brush strokey looks, the brush strokey look a little bit later. All right, so we'll go ahead and get his eyeballs in just plain white as well. Yeah, so today was a crazy day. I'm working on an advanced degree, and we have class on Thursdays only. And today was the day when we had not only an exam in data modeling and decision making, which means you've got to know all the extra special tricks in Excel and what they mean and why they matter. But then we also had like a major project presentation in the other class. So I'm not sure anyone in my class has had any sleep for the last couple weeks. It was brutal, but you know what? It feels so good to be done. So just getting the beak. The legs, I'm not gonna worry about those right now. We'll just leave them where they are. In fact, we'll come back in and get the legs later. So I'm gonna get a little bit of a coating here on the bottom half below this line. That's gonna be kind of the grass. Basically laying it in. Not perfect. It's okay to be streaky because these are base coats. And yeah, I am going like right over some of these chalk lines, but I put them in so that you have an understanding of kind of what shape we're going to be working in. And I'm going to leave a little bit of outline around the shapes so you can still see, you know, the beak and the body. And I like that black in there. Again, I think that's actually purposeful. So we'll head into the pink. Try for a second coat here. I got a couple spots. And so now I'm going to grab more of that just plain straight up peony pink and start to, there we go. Now it's showing up a little bit more of the intensity that we were looking for. Just going to get around the beak there. And again, if it picks up some of the tone from the underlayer, that's okay. Hey, Angela. All right, grabbing the pink, and we'll keep going here. This is our Sunny Funny Birdie. Again, this was all freehand. So you could probably do the same thing. We just kind of made the yin and the yang. Even got the big circle in there, turned it into a googly eye for this guy, and then broke the yin and yang up with a heart. And I was inspired by a paper plate kids craft. I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute and whimsical. What would happen if we started painting it? And then I was like, well, what do you do with the top half? And just kind of became one of those like mental exercises. Offloading some of the paint. I'm gonna try and get in here with the red, see if I can amp that tone up a bit. Oh yeah. That's a very cool red I'm using here. I'm not sure that it's exactly what I wanted, but it's okay. Sometimes I'm thinking because we have such a, this pink is a very warm pink. Sometimes it's nice to also use a warmer red, so something more like fire engine or vermilion versus this deeper bluer tone red. And if you're like, red is red, that's okay too. Okay, so again, this sky is definitely going to require a couple of coats because we're working on the black. So that is the downside of working on a black background, but sometimes again I still feel like it's really worth it just because of the little bits of line that show up. Like I really love that little this little section in here where the black shows. In fact, some of my favorite paintings that I purchased way back in the day, the woman had been to Tuscany and did this whole like these gorgeous deep colors and bright colors and oranges and like these like lavender fields and just all the sunshiny colors on a black background. So the little bits that were peeking out just look so good. All right, rinse in the brush, get it good and rinsed, dry it. And you know, half of that is getting the water, the other half is getting the little pigment bits out of the ferrule of the brush so that it's not gonna bleed new colors into your stuff. Oh yeah, this guy's gonna be a sunshine, so let me add some white here. I better do this right side up so I can see. So we're gonna just add some rays, bloop. I forgot about that. Because we'll have to come over those in yellow later. And I'm gonna go around them with a blue sky. So we'll just get that kind of jotted in now. Oop. Okay. Second coat of white on his googly eye here. Yeah. And we might add some shading and other things to make those eyes more realistic, but that'll be like Advanced Eyeball Lessons 102. I'll just get this guy kind of mostly done in. Okay. All right, so my white is pretty good and dry, which is awesome. I will grab, let's do the yellow first. I think the yellow is generally the crankiest color. Give it a good shake, always shake it. It helps make sure you don't get paint boogers. So this one is primary yellow from Decorated Americana. And since I'm expecting several coats of this guy, ooh, that's a nice warm color. Yeah, I'm gonna have to mix some white in there just to kind of help with my coverage. Yeah, I'm expecting multiple coats with the yellow, so that's why I chose to do the yellow first before coming in and grabbing the green. Because yellow is the crankiest. So that's one of the cool things about painting those. It really does require you to think your way through your art piece. There's often kind of a logical order and method to doing these things. And at first it can be pretty baffling if you're just starting out. But the more you practice and the more you do it, the more sense it makes. Okay, I need more white. Now I'm looking at this yellow and I'm thinking, ooh, it just splooged everywhere. So if this is your first time joining me and you're wondering what is she doing with that book, this is an old prospectus that came in the mail from some investment banker or other for some account I have in retirement or whatever. And it just felt like such a shame to throw it away, and I'm constantly offloading paint onto something. So I figured, you know what, if I just do every single page of this, we'll have like a whole bunch of pages of cool colors. And at some point I can probably cut them up, tear them out, and use some of these pieces in collages and mixed media pieces. So I was like, well, let's just make it a double win. All right, I'm grabbing a chunk of white. Haven't rinsed any of the paint off my brush yet. I'm just kind of adding some additional texture and letting it blend in to that yellow. Yeah, I really want to get that. And again, preserving some of that black outline. And if we decide later we don't like that black outline, we'll come fix it. Just, again, texture-y here. There we go. I want it to look rough. I'm not aiming for perfectly smooth. Okay. I'm gonna offload a little bit of that yellow here. And then we'll grab some green. We have Sour Apple Green from Deco Art Americana. Hoping this one is the color I want. If not, we'll grab another one from the green drawer. If you saw, I posted a couple days ago. I'm in the process of reworking my studio because let's face it, like all this staying home, teleworking from home with a day job, trying to do art and expecting all that out of a tiny little space. It's kind of insane, and I'll be the first to admit my workspace it's a little overloaded and very cluttered. And of course, every time I go to the dollar store, I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be great if? And then I bring home like this new thing, and then I have like these bags of these new idea things that I haven't done anything with. Babble, but you know what I'm saying. So I have this huge IKEA thing over here on this wall over that way. And so I bought a whole bunch of the drawer inserts for that Kallax, cube thing. And I'm really looking forward to that, to getting it all set up. But I got most of the drawers installed, and they're the exact perfect height for like these little bottles. So you pull it out, and it just so happens I have at least 72 bottles of green. They're not all the same color, but some of them are. Or they're not all the same. They're not all different colors, what I mean. So for example, like the Hauser dark green is a really cool deep color, and it's very hard to find sometimes, and especially I've had these paint shortages. So I found this one source for paint out in the middle of nowhere. And they had a great price, so I just had them ship me like a whole bunch. That way, as I do designs and come up with some of these art kits, I wouldn't be like, well, crap, now I don't have any color for my students. Anyway, and so the other thing is that, like, I'm one of those out of sight, out of mind people. So if I like keep all my spares somewhere else, I'll just keep buying it because I'll forget I had it. So I have to have all of it like right in front of my face. That's sort of ridiculous. Okay, I didn't really talk much about what I did here, but I just took that sour apple and just kind of smashed it in. And you notice I kind of mixed it with some white, and I grabbed dabs of white. So it's not even, it's kind of splotchy and, I don't know, painterly. That's kind of fun. Yeah, and this is really the look I'm looking for. I want it to be blendy and multicolored. All right, so here we go. We'll offload the green paint and give it a quick rinse now that I've offloaded. And I'll come back to these guys and we'll do the beak. Again, using the paper towel after a good rinse, really important. It keeps the water from getting in my stuff and thinning my paint, which right now when I'm trying to glop it on, we don't want my paint thinned. Do I have a round brush? I kind of want a round brush. We'll keep going with a square brush. So this guy's a square brush, right? Just square. Grabbing some of that, was it primary yellow, I think, and just going over the white. Boop. I still can see some of the black through. I don't like that. I'm kind of like, where I put down paint, I want it opaque, but where I leave the outlines, I'm good with that. So I'm really not contradicting myself, I swear. But now you know sort of the standard I'm mentally working with here, or working towards, I guess. I'm gonna grab a little bit of the white and maybe blend some of that in to help get better coverage, and it's okay to make it streaky. There's sort of like this grayish black, sort of dark center, where the paint's just not covering the way I want it to. Of course, because it's yellow, we expect this every time. Although honestly, if you want to get like the very, very best stuff, I totally forgot about it until just now. The Naples yellow is super cool. I feel like I have multiple versions of this. This one's just the Artist Loft from Michaels. The Liquitex one's probably also super cool. I think I have both. Who knows? I have like a whole bag of heavy body paint floating around, or mid to heavy body paint floating around somewhere. I just don't often use it for these because it tends to be a lot more expensive, and asking you guys to be like, oh yeah, use this one and use this one. It's sometimes just easier to pick up the fun, inexpensive craft paint and go to town. Plus you can get all the gajillion fun colors. All right, since I'm here and I'm thinking my yellow is kind of getting on towards drier, I'm just kind of splotching some more in. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, a little bit indiscriminate, not worried. I like the idea of it kind of being streaky and textured with multiple colors. Okay, offload, 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 rinse, and we'll go ahead and get that beak done. Actually, I guess I didn't have to rinse. I could have just added the orange and gone with it. That's okay. I'm making this up as I go, right? Okay, we have here jack-o'-lantern orange. It's a nice orange color. Oh, good, this is an open one. Squeeze it. It's probably also gonna need some of that trick with a white, but we'll see. Grabbing it, yeah. Not bad though. Yeah, we'll grab some white. Sort of over, get it in the section where I had the yellow. Now, you know, sometimes when you mix orange and white together, you get kind of a peachy color. So if you're trying to make a pale skin tone, it's not a bad color combination. Sometimes just a pinch of pink or red can tone it if you want a pinky complexion. If you're doing a darker skin tone, sometimes a smidge of purple and the orange. Also good. Of course, sometimes, you know, if you actually have brown, that can also be good. I started my art as a fine artist where, you know, we were given the primary colors plus brown. Must have been something else. There was just a few tones and it was really like everything. Every time I did anything, it was mix, 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 mix. Sometimes it's nice not to have to mix everything because, you know, that can be very difficult to get exactly what you want. So I'm going to give that orange a break. Again, offload, rinse. I am very much debating whether I should start going to town on the background or maybe let that yellow, yeah, I'm going to let the yellow dry a little bit just so that, yeah, in fact, we'll come in and we'll get the red. We'll do more on the heart, give it a little bit more oomph. There we go, that's better. Now we're getting the intensity we want, a little bit more. So again, that's the Tuscan red. It's a beautiful cool tone red. Sort of, well, never mind. It's gonna be like, sort of reminds me of blood that's not been oxygenated. A little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Still got a couple of bald spots where some of the black is showing through under the paint. Don't know if I like that, but it's okay. I think that once it gets dry, the next coat should get us pretty close. And I can always bring some, in fact, let's play with that. Let's bring a little bit of white in here. So I didn't rinse my brush. I stuck with a red and I just got a little white on. I'm going to see what happens here. Just kind of, yeah, there we go. Just get some streaky something going on. In fact, that's kind of fun just to get a little bit of streaky. Gives it a smidge more, whoops, there you are, texture. Again, this guy's still pretty rough, and that is kind of how painting goes. We tend to start off pretty rough, and then it's usually towards the very end, and if you painted with me, you know this because I say it every time. Really the magic happens in the last, 10-15 minutes when we're pulling all of it together, tidying the edges, etc. So grabbing more of that pink peony. It's a very warm pink, almost a salmon color. Might in fact be my favorite color for t-shirts. That and turquoise. In fact, for the longest time, it's like every time I looked at my closet, it was like I had black, I had this salmon color, I had turquoise. That was like it. That might still be awfully accurate. Okay, good. Now we're getting the color intensity I wanted. Some of these edge bits are a little funky. I might have to just kind of shore that up. Maybe even add a little, let's add a tail feather. But, oh, that's cute. Let's add a tail feather. Nope. Adding a bit of white into it just to kind of give it a little something. Y'all, I am making this up as I go. Bear with me. Yeah, so now just while the paint is wet, I'm getting some white, working it in. Get some a little bit here. Maybe a little along his throat. Oh yeah, that's fun. Now that we're really getting the coating done, we can play with those colors and get it all blendy the way we like it. So we get more of the pink around his eye and the top of his head. And in my little color pencil sketch, all right, no peeking at the rest of the stuff, but we have this guy here. Whoops, there it is. I kind of give him a little bit of a red belly and red crest on his head. So we'll just keep going with that. To tell you a lot of my ideas, and hopefully you have a similar process for creating concepts. But I'll just start sketching in a sketchbook, and I'll do a funky little, well, actually not even a sketchbook, it's a what are these? They have a name. It's one of those 5-star style, you know, books, but I did like a collage on the front because, you know, my favorite color is rainbow. Yeah, it's just full of notes, and it's good to have these kind of things. You do tiny sketches and then often figure out how to bring them to life in full size. Sometimes I just trace them over and then like scan them right into my printer, or scan them in and blow them up because my small sketch is good. Sometimes I gotta start over, but it's always fun to do. All right, so give just a little bit of white along. Can you see that okay? Kind of right along or under the eye, but leaving a little space, almost like he's, oh, did I didn't just put, no. It's like, did I just put like paint on my face, did I? No. This wouldn't be the first time. Almost like you're giving him little bags under his eyes. Okay, a little bit of highlighty white along the top here. Again, because we're working with wet paint and multiple colors, it's allowing that color to just kind of streak and blend right there on the canvas, which is a fun effect. This is very kind of folk art style, right? It's not traditional fine art and fancy, but this is so much more fun and kind of rewarding and all the good stuff. All right, offloading some of that pink paint. I think because we're still in the warm tones, I'm gonna give it a try. Grab a smidge of white, grab some orange, and just make this beak a little bit deeper. Again, allowing some of the blending to occur on canvas, because why not? And in fact, even seeing if like more of the blending occurs in the middle so that we end up with kind of these darker edges where I leave just the pure pigment of, or paint color. Even grab some white to kind of, you know, canvas blend right down the middle. See that? You can see there's a little bit more of the deeper orange here and here. Kind of reminds me of like Frosty's carrot nose. Okay, offload. Oh, make 3 pages in my prospectus look good. I'm gonna rinse. Come through with one more coat of white on the eyeball since I'm here. And it is dry. Oof. Got a lot of red pigment up in the ferrule on this guy. Hopefully I'm not turning his eyeball pink. That would not be my favorite. There we go. Okay. So it's funny, you know, as a traditionally trained artist, I was always told, you know, you do the background first and then you do all the stuff on the foreground after. But I have to admit, I've seen some just beautiful, beautiful work, and I love the effect of sometimes painting the background last and not allowing the background to fully come in contact with the foreground, which again kind of leaves that little black outline, and it's kind of a fun look. So yes, that is a little bit on purpose. So since I've got the white, gonna dip into the yellow a little here and there, offload some of the white from the brush onto the sun. Again, that just keeps it streaky, right? Can you see that? Sometimes I can't tell with the lighting. I'm trying. All right, go ahead and rinse the brush. Uh-oh. I lost track of my sketch. There it is. Okay. All right, let's see about some blue background. All right, I need your opinion. Should I do screaming intense blue, or should I go with like a lighter turquoisey? Got this kind of patina color, which is kind of capturing my heart. It looks almost like rusted copper. I don't know. What do you guys think? Deep blue or pale turquoise? I get some votes here. I really can't decide. Anybody have an opinion? Or we could do like a blendy. I could just kind of see what happens in blend. This cerulean is kind of insane. I want to do turquoise, but the cerulean is kind of yelling at me. I don't know. Okay, Diane, you voted. We're going to do the light. You got it, girl. Yeah, actually, that guy's too green. We'll see what happens with this guy. That cool? All right, squeeze a bunch on. I think I want a bigger brush. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here in front of my face. So the prior brush I had was a little bit on the smaller side, kind of a small square. I'm gonna go with a bigger square brush. It's just gonna help me get my coverage out faster. And I may need to add white, I don't know. Let's just see. Yeah, it's a little bit light for my taste. That's okay though. So we'll get some white in here and mix it up and again, titanium white is our best friend for like everything, especially painting on black. Just grab some turquoise, pull it off here, grab some white, just kind of mix it up. There we go. Yeah, that's better. So my hope here is in fact to kind of see brush strokes and for it not to be completely solid. And we're gonna just kind of come around and get near the edge and maybe overlapping a little. So I'm focusing my precision of around the sunshine here. And the precision being leaving a little gap mostly, but not always. But I really can just kind of relax a bit and once I'm coming away from that. And this will need a few coats for sure. Go. That makes a whole lot more of this stuff. So I guess this is semi-almost kind of Valentine's theme because he's got a heart for a wing, right? I mean, I definitely do have Valentine's theme stuff. I'll tell you, you paint something a few times, you're like, okay, I'm good. Oh, and for spring, I am starting to obsess over the next, vintage truck style. I've also been asked to come up with a bunch of gnomes, so we'll look at that. How to do like theme gnomes for every season. That's for Angela. So we've done the February gnomes, which was like Valentine's, so I'll have to come up with like, I don't know, spring gnomes or St. Patrick's gnomes or not for kids, drunk Notre Dame beer guzzling gnomes. I don't know. All right, so again, every time I do this, I'm just grabbing bits of white, bits of blue, trying to get that base coat in, but also leaving some of those gaps of black around the main figures. I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of a fun, kind of folk arty look. And so I'll tell you, oftentimes I'll go live and I'll just kind of make something up on the spot, have fun inventing a painting while we're here all together. And you'll know, and if you've seen me do this a few times, you'll often notice that I don't exactly finish the painting. And that's sometimes because I sort of hit a point where I'm like, I'm not really sure what to do next. And sometimes I need to walk away from a piece and sleep on it, or even just give it like 20, 30 minutes distance, which I find really helpful when I'm like, ugh, I'm not sure what's next. Instead of trying to muscle through, sometimes giving it space and giving your brain an opportunity to stop thinking about it is exactly what you need so you can come up with what's next. So, you know, what was it? Around, when was the last time we went skiing? Whatever, I did the whole mandala, the whimsical mandala painting, and I tell you, at first it just was not coming together, and I do my best to just kind of not show my frustration on camera, but I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna pull this sucker off. It's just not working. But I found when I walked away and then came back a little bit later, I think I did 2 lives in one day, that distance and just kind of playing a little bit brought it around to, I don't know, my happy place. So if you miss the mandala, this is what it looks like. And I do have, I want to say a 3-part tutorial on my page. There's a post that has a picture of this and you can find all the links. And there's a tracer if you want to trace the design, if you don't feel like freehanding it. And there's a link for that where you can go download it. And it does ask you to sign up for my mailing list. And I promise I don't spam. In fact, I'm not sure I've ever sent a promotional email out in my life because I hate writing. But at some point, when I figure all that out, I'll do that. Okay, so now we're getting a good coating of blue. I'm pretty happy with that at this point. Need to look at him for a second. All right, we're getting there, we're getting there. I think since I'm still working the blue, I'm gonna grab more white and just kind of bring it in and just kind of smush some white in to some of that blue. Just gives it a little bit more texture. Now I have like the main coating done. Yeah, that's more fun. Again, I'm not aiming for solid colors. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. There we are. So you can see the brush strokes. Yeah, I love the happy colors too, Diane. I'll never stop saying that my favorite color is rainbow. Offload my brush, put some of that blue. Get off the brush. Let's see here. What do we want to do now? Rinse and dry. We will. Oh, we should add some little bit of red belly and actually let's do his eyeballs. Let's do his eyeballs. So now I'm grabbing my fine liner. I don't know if you can see that. It's really small. Now, spin it out so it's a nice thing. Yes, I did put my brush in my mouth. I can't help it. And I'm going to do purple googly eyes on this guy. So we'll start with a purple pizzazz from Deco Art Americana. It's a nice intense purple. I'll stay on the main color thing. Keep my blue space clear for now. Oh yeah, that guy definitely wanted to be mixed. And I think we'll have him looking, I gotta turn him so I can see him sort of down this way. So off center, I'm gonna draw kind of a purple circle, and then maybe, oh, how do we want to make this guy look? A little wonky. I think wonky and cuckoo. Oh yeah, straight up Angry Birds wacky. I love it. Oh, he's a little bit creepy. We've added the purple. This eye over here is like really creepy. I kind of love it. Just get a basic. So I guess I didn't really need the fine liner for that, but I wasn't sure. I may still need the fine liner. But we'll get the basic purple going. I'm going to come in with a darker purple. I'll float a little bit. So I want to come in with a dioxazine. Just remind me it's there so I don't lose it. It's more of a violet deep tone, dioxazine purple. Again, give it a good mix. Come on, guy, dry. Crumbles. Just a tiny drop, don't need much. Okay. I think we'll do kind of an outline on of that eyeball, or the iris. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. Purple outline on the iris. I'm thinking it just kind of needs a minute to dry here. Going with this dioxazine, the deep purple, but I'm going to take it and give it a good spin so I can get a nice point on my brush. Ooh, I got a stray bristle. You're not allowed to do that. You're too new. Whatever. All right, we're going to try this. I give the eyeball a very pale, just kind of actually right at the junction. I can even do it right over the. I'm not talking too well right now. Blue, over the peony pink, just a very, very pale purple line. So when I'm doing people faces, which is not gonna happen live on camera, but when I'm doing people faces, purple is kind of an amazing color to use, and violet for shadows, and also just for kind of making eyes. So one of the things that a lot of times we don't realize when you look at an eye, like the upper lid actually casts a slight shadow on the eyeball. And so it's amazing, like when you learn how to draw that shadow on the eyeball, your eyes go from looking like these bright white things to like eyes. Do a little bit here too, just kind of add some definition. Giving the eyeballs just a little kind of an outline. Yeah, not nailing that iris today. There's so much paint. I might come through and make his eyes a little bit more beady, I don't know. But let's go ahead, I'm gonna keep going with a shadow. So I'm gonna get a little bit of water on the tip of my brush. Kind of, and still there's purple on it, but now I've got kind of a watery mix over here. I'm gonna go ahead and come over the white at the bottom and just create a little purple haze here. Maybe a smidge more water to kind of blend it. Whoopsie, too much. Okay. I love fixing things with my fingers. Okay, so we're just getting kind of a light, yeah. You see that? Can you see that? Let me come close and take a look. Yeah. You see how where is it? There's that little tiny purple haze like right there. It's just going to give that little bit of dimensionality and make that eye a little bit more believable. So we'll do a smidge more of the haze over here on the far eye. In fact, I might even add a bit of haze in general. That is a creepy, creepy eye. What can I say? We'll give it a lot more purple haze kind of around it. Then leave a little highlight kind of near the iris. I think we'll take some more of that here. Bet you weren't expecting me to do purple inside the whites of the eyes, were you? I don't know that I was expecting me to do that, but there you go. Oh, what did I just do? All right. Water, water, water. Just got some dark. Made a mess. Okay, there we go. So actually even bringing a smidge of that sort of purple wash around the top. So now his eye kind of is a little bit more popping. So on that note, I probably need to change his eyeball color. Maybe we'll make him, oh well, should we go with teal eyes? Is that creepy? Let's see what happens. I like the haze too, isn't it crazy? Oh no, all right. This stuff has completely separated. Ugh. So I ended up getting just almost the clear stuff. So it means all the pigments on the bottom. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Let's try again. That's better. So just a tiny bit. Let's see, I must have a better, bigger something brush. And we'll go with this. This guy will do. I've got like 1,000,001 brushes. Oh, 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 yes. Oh, that color is so great. Okay. I don't remember what bird eyes look like. Should we make them more human style? Maybe. All right, I'm going over it. Oh my gosh. That color's amazing. That color's amazing. Oh, that teal just like bam. So, in case you're wondering, that is mermaid tail teal. Oh my goodness. Wow. That, I always forget how intense it is, and it's got insanely good first coat coverage. Oh, man, I love it when a paint does that for me. And since I'm here, I think I'm just gonna kind of smush some of that mermaid tail teal over here. Grab a smidge of white, maybe some of my blue, just kind of go blendy here. There we go. Just kind of fumble fingers. And why am I doing this? Oh, I don't know, because I can. That's why. Just adds a little bit more tonal complexity to the edges. Sort of that almost like tunnel vision kind of feeling where it's darker around the edges and then gets lighter in the middle. Again, because we can. And if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Just kind of messing, having fun. Oh yeah. Mermaid tail teal, mermaid tail teal. I obsessed about that color for ages. I'd heard about it, but could never find it. And one day I stumbled across it. I want to say I was like at Hobby Lobby, and I was like, oh! It's funny. There are certain colors that like are really hard to find sometimes. And so when I find them, I like go to town. Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm feeling a little ADHD here. I'm all talking about the eyeballs, and suddenly I'm doing this thing along the edge of the painting for, I don't know, because I can. Give that guy a rinse. And let's, or maybe give him a, I don't know, what are the words for eyeballs? You have the pupil, okay, pupil and iris. So I'm gonna see about using this purple color for the iris, the pupil. I don't know how this is gonna work. I'm gonna give it a whirl. I have one of these, it's an acrylic dowel. You could get one that's just made out of wood. You could use a pencil eraser as long as it's a brand new pencil. Here's one that's brand new, like so, perfect. Most of my pencil erasers are all buffed down. So I'm gonna literally just dip it in the purple, offload a smidge, and that is wet, we'll see. Do the purple iris right here, oh yeah. And on this guy, I don't know how I'm gonna pull it off, I'll have to hand paint that section. Oh, I like that. See, now we're getting somewhere. So I don't know what bird eyes are like, so I'm just gonna do kind of human inspired googly eyes because it's whimsical art and I can, and you can. All right, a little bit more here. There. Okay. It's a little bit ridiculous looking, but I kind of like it, and that haze really does a lot for it. All right, offload, rinse. Okay, we're gonna go back to the fine liner. And I'm going to get a little crazy here. Grab some of that grass green, grab some of my mermaid tail teal, mix it together. I want it to kind of, can you see that? So if this was my mermaid tail and this was my grass or sour apple, this is my kind of in-between color. And I may have to mix more of it, and that's fine. I'm gonna come inside, just a little bit inside the eyeball, or the iris, yeah, iris, and kind of draw. It's not showing very well. Maybe we need a little bit more of the sour apple. I'm gonna draw a line. I want to be able to see the mermaid tail on the outside of that, so it's just kind of a gentle ring inside. Yeah, I totally had not planned to do all like fancy eyes today, but you know what? We're doing fancy eyes today. No reason, it's just where we are. Grab more of that, okay. And so if your fine liner starts to kind of splay out, just remember to twist it on your palette with a little bit of paint, and it should, it's a little bit too wet over here. It should kind of form a point. Kind of hard to see. We've got this little, oh, my light is so bright I can't see. It's a little tiny line around it. And then I'm gonna come in, you can do this too. I think I'm gonna go just straight with the sour apple green. Mine's getting a little bit chunky because it's been sitting there. I'm gonna try and just draw some, kind of on the upper portion, just some lines that kind of radiate from that outline. I'm not gonna go even. I'm gonna keep it more toward, too much. Grab a corner paper towel when you screw up. You just kind of dab it off. Boop. Maybe dab the pupil off too, whoopsies. Okay, try that again. A little green around here. And then from that line, just kind of a few lines that radiate inwards. It's kind of goofy looking, but kind of fun too. Now we will also get a highlight on this eye, but we do have to let the paint dry. I messed up my pupil here, so I'll try and get that guy back. And so you notice when you do the iris, if you do even lines all the way around exactly the same, then it just looks kind of mechanical. But if you hint at those lines in a few places, you know, you could add some dabs kind of along that green rim and not go entirely in. Some parts will have, you know, a more intense green, even some dots along that edge, or maybe some dots near the pupil too. Bing, 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 bing. Not so that they look like dots, but just kind of bips of color. Yeah, bips of color, that's exactly it. then you have kind of a little bit more interesting stuff going on with those eyes. They're creepy now. Okay, go ahead and rinse that off. Let's add some legs for Mr. Bird here. I meant to grab some black and I didn't. So, what is that? Oh, that's glue. We do not want glue. I'll grab some brown because I don't know where my black is. Burnt umber. Just about any old brown will do. I do like burnt umber though. It's one of those classic painter colors that you can mix with all sorts of things to tone. I'm thinking this kind of not so fine liner is good. We'll grab the brown. It's probably not the color I want, but it's fine. Close enough. So we'll do one from underneath, kind of coming forward. His goofy little legs coming down, blue, blue, blue. And maybe a little foot, blue, blue, blue. I don't know, that's cute. Little back toe. And then another one that maybe comes from inside the bird. It's totally silly looking, right? So you see this one starts right at the edge because it's actually on the other side, and then this one starts inside the bird because it's close to us. And then we'll make his foot kind of this way. And maybe one little back bit. He's so goofy looking, oh my goodness. So I'm gonna want to tweak some definition around here. I can't tell if this is paint or if it's chalk. Almost want to go over this with like a wet rag, but that's not going to be a good idea right now. This brown is very see-through. I'm going to grab some white and just drag the white. Can I do that? Is this dry? Not really. I have to turn it this way so I don't get myself in it. So I'm going to use some white with the brown. Oh, that's better. Yeah. Just adds a little bit more there. A little bit more brown to it. It's getting a bit light. So it creates kind of a grayish, brownish, smushy color. It's good. So I do like just kind of taking the white, you know, right off the palette, over top that brown, letting it blend right there on the canvas, then maybe streaking some more brown on top of that. It kind of makes the legs look a little bit shadowed and whatnot. So maybe add a bit of roundness at the top so it's kind of coming out. This is supposed to be the wing. Offload, offload, offload. Rinse. And we'll tweak that red a little bit. There. Oh, hello. Our red is finally cooperating. I guess it just took like 20 coats of paint. I wish I had a paint that was like a one coat. That's okay. Ooh, yeah, add some of that red in. It just pops the intensity there. That's what we want. Okay, since we're here, offload a little bit of the paint from that red brush. I'm going to grab some of our dioxazine violet. Just kind of massage it onto the tips of my square brush. And go ahead and get a little bit of that purple kind of right along the edge of this heart here, kind of at the bottom. What it does is it's adding a shadow. So we can always use black to add shadow, but sometimes purple is just, it's a little bit more vibrant. Black can make things muddy, whereas purple, it just adds, I don't know, there's something about it I really like. In fact, we could even really go to town with that purple. Yeah. In fact, if you do my Valentine's gnome, we have this vibrant purple I send in the kit. And we use it for a lot of our shadows. It just has a fun effect. Okay, that's not bad. It's not quite going as I wanted right in here, so maybe lift some of it with my paper towel. Yeah. Offload. Good enough. And I think, oh yeah, a little more pink. Actually, I have this other pink. Let's try this guy. Let's see what happens. This one, it's kind of funky. It's a great color. It ends up being a super matte finish, which is a little odd, but it is fun. So we'll add some of that pink under here, under his belly, under his beak. Yeah. There we go. I'm not feeling the red on his belly. But this pink is kind of fun. We'll kind of go up that underside, go right around his legs, maybe a little there, maybe a little red along here, just to kind of, this portion of his head is a little in shadow. I don't know. First keeping it streaky, keeping it kind of interesting. Maybe coming up around here almost to give him kind of a little breast and little cheeks. There we go. Grab a smidge of white now to just blend some of that so it's not quite so stark. Yeah. So this was a Sargent Art. Oh, they're calling this one magenta. Blend right there on the canvas. So grabbing small amounts of white, not too much. See, got a little bit more of that. And it's okay for those brush strokes to show. It's almost like, not quite pointillism, that's not the word, but you know how some of the Impressionists, they almost create the whole piece with little small dabby strokes. We can do that and add some texture, a little bit of, I guess, visual complexity. I do like how this white is, it's kind of pulling out some of the cool blue tones in this pink. Yeah, so this magenta, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely got more cool tones because as I add the white, you can really see it, or I can really see it. Oh, managed to grab some purple by accident. Well, that's not bad. We'll go with it. Okay. Load, offload, offload. Maybe purple. Just a smidge of that violet, a little bit of the white. Let's see if I can just add a touch more of interest there. Oh yeah, there we go. So I'm trying to maintain the character of that violet, but adding a smidge of the white just to kind of pop it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Because purple and red don't always mix. Sometimes they do, but not always. Not always. A bit more along here. Yeah, maybe a little bit here. And just adding some shadowy bits. Little bits of purple, shadowy, because it's kind of a white and a purple I've got mixed, and it's just picking up whatever color I happen to put it on. And I'm staying in the same tonal family, so I just use that violet color to give his belly a little bit of shade. We give it some multiple tones, which is often what you'll see in the actual feathers itself. But then we also need to add some shading. Oh, got a lot of paint going on here. Okay, it's not loving me, so I'm gonna get more with the dabby strokes. Oh, this guy is so cute and goofy. That's why I named him Sunny Funny Birdie. Because he's sunny and he's kind of funny. Okay. Ooh, and you know we want some of this violety purple right there under his beak. So I'll tell you, it's one thing for me to paint this guy, you know, upside down and sideways so you can see, but boy, when it comes to the finishing touches, sometimes it's hard for me to tell what he needs until I turn him a certain way. And I'm wanting a little bit more of this violet along the top here, and there we go. We'll put kind of the other side in shadow a bit more. I'm gonna offload. And I think I want to intensify the purple haze around his back eye. We'll see how this goes. Kind of going with a dry, brushy, purpley, very gentle, kind of dabby. I'll pull some of that purple across the iris as well. It's maybe a little much, that's okay. Just keep kind of going like so. Oh, he's goofy looking. We'll intensify a little bit in this area here too. We'll get a little bit of that shadow and that haze right over the iris. Yep. Oh, I wrote so much pink on there. Whoop. That's a lot of purple there, girl. That's okay. Let's offload some and then see if I can kind of spread it. So I'm using a really light, it's a fairly dry brush, just kind of applying small amounts of color. Try not to go overboard too much. Okay, so now we've got a good haze around the eye. Go ahead and rinse that guy off. Okay, no brushes in my hair, that's good. Where'd he go then? Did it fall down? There's no brushes in my, okay, there's no brush in my hair. Where'd my fine liner go? Yeah, it really did go. It fell down. Okay, cool. I didn't hear it land. Oh yeah, okay. White highlight for the eyeball. I gotta again do this close where I can see. There we go. But you know, if you look at an eye, you know, even mine, you can see kind of the reflection of the light that I've got. And I have a ring light, so you might see like a ring reflection instead of just a line. But a normal light source will give, you know, like more like a dot or even a line. So I'm gonna grab some of the white here. And my other white has got like purples and yellows and oranges in it. So I'm gonna grab something that's got more of a blue tone. So I'm gonna come and kind of create a little bit of a line. Whoops, let's see how we do here. A little bit here on the, it's almost like little, yeah, that's okay. A little something, kind of catching his eye. You can't really see it on the purples or on the whites of his eye. And now the eye is kind of, that did not work the way I wanted it to. Let's see if I can salvage that guy. So where I was going with that is the eye is round, right? And so if you have a round eye, right? You don't, I don't know if you can see that there. Okay. If you have a round eye that's kind of shaped like this, right? You wouldn't draw a straight line, but if you wanted to kind of get a highlight on it, you might kind of do something that kind of followed the curve of the eye. Now if this part here is already white, let's say this is the iris, it's going to kind of land like so. And then we're going to have kind of the purple shadow of the eye here from the eyelid. I know my colors are a little bit insane, but you know what I'm doing here, right? There, eyeshadow. Then if it was a human, you'd even put a little bit of like the red in the corners of the eye to kind of add. But that's how an eye is constructed. Now, granted, I picked some really ridiculous colors to do it. But that's kind of how we're thinking about it. All right, so let's try the highlight on the eye again. And boop, 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 boop. So a little blot there, and then a little bit on the white, or on the iris, there. Okay, that'll do. And so now his eyes kind of have that. There we go, look. Now, for looking on camera, I might be wrong, but from here and seeing it reflected back on the screen, I feel like the orange of the beak is not quite where we want it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just intensify the edges a little here, especially around the bottom. I can even get a smidge of red in there, see what happens if I mix some red in. Ooh, yeah. So I'm just grabbing some of the red that I had been using. Oh, okay, or a lot of it. That works really well. Let's go with it. Yeah, so that intensifies the beak on the bottom half. So just like a streak of red at the bottom, and then adding some of the orange to kind of blend those tones up and intensify. And since we had kind of a light orange going already along the top, if I leave that, then it just starts to look like the highlight on the beak. Although we might still want to highlight on the beak. So I got some white here, I got some white here. So we could do a little highlight here, a little bit something along there. Yeah, it's a happy bird. I like it. That was a good addition. And since we're there, I might add some, I know it's the sun, but we'll add a little bit of shadow to the sun because we can. So taking my smaller square brush, I just mixed some orange and yellow to just make it a little bit more intense color right there, and just kind of there. Yep. A little orange, a little yellow, just grabbing, just kind of smushing it together, letting it blend on canvas. Small strokes here, not really dragging the brush anywhere, just kind of smushing color onto the canvas, which is a fun way to do things. Oh, we have a lot of bits of reds and whatnots in the ferrule of the brush, or in the bristles area. And maybe come in with just more yellow to kind of blend that out a little. I need to offload because I got a lot of deep tones kind of sneaking through there when I maybe don't want them. So again, you could keep this as simple as you wanted. If you wanted to just do, you know, straight yellow, you could, but I really think it's fun to get a little bit more variation going. Smidge more orange in this, so, oh yeah. In between the heart cheeks, I want it a little bit oranger. Yeah, a little intensity there. Intensity. I kind of laugh, like in my acquisitions class today, the professor was like, now I just hope that you guys, you know, really are forever, you know, reading and learning in your professional area and continuing to do professional development. I was like, totally, just not reading about tanks and things. But I tell you, constantly looking at art books, thinking about designs, watching tutorials, such a great way to continue to grow your own skill. And I'll tell you, the more you show up and the more you practice and the more you're, you know, here, whether it's with me or on your own, but just showing up and doing art, like, it's gonna happen. Your skill set will, it can't really do anything but increase and improve, because it really is practice. So I feel that we want a little bit more depth in this green. It feels very flat to me right now. So I'm gonna grab all, hopefully I don't regret this, of the mermaid teal I had left, and mush it in with my spring green here, or whatever color that is. Sour apple. Grab a little bit more. Yeah. Oh, this mermaid tail is a darn cool color. I'm just gonna kind of smush that. I know, it's a little rough. Smush that around the edges. And then I'll grab some of the other bits of mermaid tail. Oops. All right. So I shouldn't have mixed it with all of it. I still need some plain. Oh, shoot. I'll mix it up again. It started to separate. I got some of the gel medium stuff instead of the pigment. Okay. All right. Let's see how we do here. Kind of bring in tone. So I don't like the big contrast between the light and the dark. So I am trying to tone it a little bit. In some ways I feel like I lost a little bit of the character that I liked of the pale, so I'm gonna grab more of the white and kind of mix some of it back in. I do want some of those darker bits around the edges here. Okay. So a little bit of pouncing here and there. Sometimes if I feel like I can moderate or modulate kind of the tones with my fingers, like finger blending, you can come in and just kind of pounce it back and forth. Grab some more white here. Ooh, yes, no, yes, yes. Offload some of that paint. Need a little more white. Now it just looks like I have this funny outline around the bird's legs. That's not what I wanted. So I've kind of cooled that green down a little bit. I don't know if that was really what I intended, but there it is. Oh, his leg. I can always fix that. Regular green there. Okay, there we go. Grabbing some of that springy green in there. So I don't know, I might be overworking this background here. It's okay, it's fine, it happens. I'm gonna kind of mess with the legs because I'm getting that weird shadowing that I don't want in the legs. Okay, and then I'll just draw the legs back on. We know where they are. Okay, there we go, that's better. A little white in here. All right, so I'm just adding a little bit more white to lighten it again in some areas to try not to get too muddy too quickly because I'm aiming for mud now. I'm really aiming for mud. Y'all, you gotta tell me to stop while I'm ahead, right? All right, we're getting there. Okay. Offload, offload, offload. Blend. So I've got some light edges here that I wasn't liking, so I'm trying to almost blend the color back in towards the center, the lightness in towards the center, without bringing any more of the lightness out. So I'm doing kind of inward motions to prevent too much lightness from coming in and remove some of the lighter layers to reveal the darker tones underneath. Okay. Actually, now that's working real well. So we'll go ahead and rinse. We'll draw the legs back in. And I'm kind of on the fence. I often will go ahead and outline with black, but I think I'm going to let this guy dry. And then I'll maybe go over it with a damp cloth to see if there's any chalk marks that are left to lift those. And then I'm going to sleep on it and make a decision about whether or not I'm going to do an outline or further details. Because we are getting to the point where this guy could totally be overworked in a minute. We're getting close. Still, he's kind of cute and fun, and I think I like this guy better than the sketch. So that's the thing, even if you just have like a school notebook and maybe like, you know, school pencil and then some colored pencils. I mean, I'll just keep this little bundle here on hand. In fact, they're Crayola. Super high tech, super expensive. As in like $2 or something. It's just like one of those boxes. I probably stole it from my kids' school supplies. But it's a great way to kind of mock up an idea and just throw in some color. I don't have to go with all the details, but if I roughly know what I'm aiming for, it's a good start. Okay, so again, did sort of the browns and the whites, and I think this guy is kind of ridiculous and cute and funny, and I'm gonna stop here, give him a break, and sort of see where we are tomorrow, and maybe I'll finish it up then and snap some real pictures and show it off, and you guys can tell me if we're missing anything and if we need to add glitter, maybe some glitter in the sunshine, I don't know. So I hope you guys have a great night. And we'll see you again. I missed you. But now that that major project and exam are over, hopefully I've got just a little bit more bandwidth. So, bye.